So I'm too old to use AI tools. I'm not tech savvy. Have you heard yourself say this? Have you heard somebody else say this? I was reading the comments of someone else's YouTube video last week, and the commenter was saying that she had a conversation with someone else that felt like she was too dumb to get started with AI tools and too old to get started with it. I hate that she said both things because neither one of those are a challenge when using AI. Um, and none of us are dumb. It's just a word that we choose to say or people choose to put on us. But she was saying when she had that conversation with this person, that she found out that she was working on back end systems for her company since the 90s, since the early 90s, for decades now. So she's already understood the assignment. She understood how to work this stuff. She just never called it that. She just never called it AI. She just never called it tech savvy. So that's who this video is for. It's for the woman who feels like she is too old to use AI or not tech savvy enough. Because here's what I do know about you. I may not have spoken to you directly, but I know based on conversations that I've had since I've launched my business in 2014. You have had some type of technology before. You've used some type of technology before. You've sent emails, you've managed spreadsheets, you've built presentations, you run Zoom calls, and you've navigated systems at work that were set up specifically for that company. Now, let me know in the comments. For those of you that have started a new job, you walked in on day one, and on day one, you got in there and you sat down and they showed you the system. It was a system you'd never seen anywhere, you never used before, and it took you days, weeks, and sometimes even months to learn how to navigate. How many of you have walked into a job like that? Now, how many of you have learned those systems so that you can do your job? You can navigate through those systems, get your tasks done, and get paid every week or every other week, or even some of you that get paid monthly. You've learned how to use that system. So it's just the exact same thing with AI. It's something that you have to learn to use and I'm not saying that you have to, but it makes life a whole lot easier if you learn how to use AI to expand your own business, to grow your own business before you grow somebody else's or continue to grow somebody else's. So before we jump in, I want to give you a little context first. I left my corporate job in 2016. I started my business creating digital products in 2014. My corporate job was working in the foreclosure industry. I worked for a title company that was owned by attorneys, and I handled the foreclosure department. I was also a real estate agent since 2001. But I walked away from corporate altogether in February of 2016. Last month, February 2026, made 10 years of me walking away from my 9 to 5 and not looking back. But what I didn't expect was how long it would take for me to see that everything that I actually already knew was the foundation of my business. It took me years to start using the ideas that I learned from my 9 to 5. Even though when I came out of my 9 to 5, I wrote down things that, oh, I can roll this into my business. I didn't. I didn't. But when I started using AI and started using tools like ChatGPT and now Claude, all of these things started to come together because it felt more like a system that I used at my old job. All right, so let's jump in. So here's the difference that I want you to understand between ChatGPT and Claude. Um, with ChatGPT, basically every conversation that you have starts with zero. You're constantly teaching it who you are. You're constantly retraining it and re-adding prompts. Even if you have it set up, I used to have it set up where it would send me an automated something, an automated post or script or email or something every Monday or every Tuesday. But I noticed that after like week one or week two, it would kind of revert or repeat, and I would have to keep fixing it. Now that was with ChatGPT. So for those of us that are building a brand around our lived experience, our voice, our stories, our values, that's a real problem. Claude Projects, in which I created a full video about that last week. I'll link it in the comments. Claude Projects lets you build what I call a brand home. You upload your brand guide, you upload your voice, your audience, your details, your offers, and then every single time, Claude is like perfection. I'm sure the name of the person who created Claude is out there and it's easy to find. I haven't even looked it up, but I thank you to whoever did. Claude is absolute perfection. Every single time I open Claude, it already knows me. It knows what I want. I'm not starting over each and every time from scratch. I'm just picking up where I left off as long as I'm using Claude Projects. So I'm going to share my screen. Let me share these files right now really quickly. Like I said, I created a full video last week, but I want to give you a quick overview in this video. All right, so this is inside of my Claude project. So when you are in Claude, if you go over to the left-hand tab, you can just click on projects to create this. But it has all of your memory in here. It has everything that you put in there that you wanted to do and that you don't want it to do. It has the instructions in there, your fonts, your color scheme, whatever you want to roll in there. For example, I see a lot of people that are using ChatGPT that have a lot of repetitive terms and statements in their posts, such as truth is. Like when I see that or when I hear somebody say that, I know they've used a ChatGPT script because how many times in real life do you just say truth is? Like unless you're singing the Fantasia song. But other than that, we're not using truth is in normal, regular language because when you're speaking something, it should already be the truth. But this gives the instructions of what I wanted to do and not to do, the memory for based on what I've done already. And then here are all of my guides that I've uploaded, my color schemes, my ideal client avatar info. I've uploaded how I want my weekly newsletter to be formatted so that when I come in here, I can say, okay, let's do next week's newsletter. And I want it to be formatted exactly the same. So it will format it exactly the same and knows what sections to add. I have everything here that I need to run my entire business. I also have my team information. Right now, since December, I no longer have a team. I'm preparing to hire another team sometime this year. So I have built out how I want my team to look so that as I am working on projects here in Claude, Claude knows, okay, the marketing manager can do this. The chief financial officer can do this. The VA can do this. The project manager can do this. So when I go to hire, it can pull from this sheet that I've already uploaded with my how I want my ideal team to look. So that's Claude Projects. As you are going through and you are um, doing things, you want to make sure you're coming into your projects so that everything will stay in alignment with what you've added here. So Cloud Projects is super simple. Like I said, I'll drop the full video tutorial in the description so you can take a look at that. So this is not a small thing. It gives me back hours of my life every single week. Yesterday, I got to sit down and relax at 4 p.m. No more sitting on my computer to 7, 8, 9 o'clock at night, taking care of things that I used to do with ChatGPT because I'm repeating over and over again. With Clyde, I don't do that. Now I can take weekends off. Excited about that. So here's what nobody talks about when they're teaching AI tools. They teach you like you're starting from nothing. Like the goal is to learn a brand new skill and become somebody like totally different. But for women that are 40, 50 and beyond, you're not starting from nothing. I want you to know that you're starting from decades of knowing how to read a room, how to solve a problem, how to communicate clearly, and how to serve well. So Claude doesn't replace that. It amplifies it. And for those of you that have this question, Claude does not pay me. I saw this question in another person's um, comment. Someone was asking her, is she an affiliate of Claude because she's always teaching about it or bragging about it. Cloud doesn't pay me at all. It pays me back in time. I get my time back from using it. So I will continue to brag about it because it's something that I am grateful for at this season in my life. So when you tell Cloud what you know, who you serve, and what you want to build, it becomes a thinking partner, like your strategic partner that helps you move faster without burning out. It helps you to turn what you have already been like carrying inside of you in your head and turn it into something that actually sells. That's what I mean when I say your past is not wasted time. I say this all the time. Your past is not wasted. It's your next income stream. So if you're ready to make the switch from ChatGPT to Claude, now you don't have to fully switch. You can downgrade to the free version of ChatGPT if you want. And then go on over to Claude. I want you to go to Claude AI. Set up a free account. You do not need Pro at the moment. I'm still on using the free version of it. I do plan to upgrade within the next week or two because I do see how valuable Claude is and that I can do so much more with the paid tool. But you being able to use projects, and that's part of the free version, that's where you get the real power. That's where you get some of your time back. Then I want you to create your first project, upload your brand story, your description of who you serve, your brand colors, anything that you wanted to do, anything that you don't want it to do, just brain dump it in there. You can clean it up later, but for now, just put it in there. This alone will help you get something valuable out there that you've been sitting on. It'll help you get a ton of your time back that you've been wanting. So here's where I want to leave you. I want you to know that you are not behind, that you are not too old. I am 50 years old and I feel like my life is just getting started. And I want you to know that you're definitely not too late. The experience that you have been carrying for decades, since the 80s, since the 90s, since the early 2000s, someone else is waiting to learn from you. So Claude is just a tool that helps you to move it like out of your head and into income. Okay, so if you're still not clear on what you want to build, I have a free quiz that is waiting for you in the description. It's called Experience to Income. Go take it. It's 3 minutes. I believe it's about 7 questions, and it'll give you more clarity than an hour of sitting there and thinking and overthinking. It'll help you for those of you that are in the space where you have no digital product at all, and it'll help those of you that are in the space where you have a digital product, you've created it, but you've made no sales or little to no sales, and you want to kind of tweak and revamp so you can refresh it and put it out again. So go ahead and take that quiz. I'll go ahead and drop it below if this video has helped you. Go ahead and share it with a woman in the world who needs to hear it. Subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.